This is perhaps the most iconic picture of the day that came to be known as Saba Saba, when Kenyans came out in force to make a stand, insisting enough was enough when it came to one-man dictatorship. The response from the overwhelming police forces on that day was as predictable as it was brutal. Just listen to a personal account by one of those who were there that day, Reverend Dr. Timothy Njoya.
Oh, let me tell you about that today. I was being beaten.
Yes.
So the others, Moi's bodyguards had no place to shoot me.
Because they would have.
They would have. So when the police stopped beating me, now for dead, it's when the presidential guard escort came to shoot me. But the two, one Italian police, I know he was called, I think, I forgot his name, but an Italian policeman and another journalist, the one who raised their life, and a captor. Captor was broken in his foot because they came to lie on me so that I'm not shot.
The police continued to beat, batter, and brutalize this man of the cloth. And even at one point, he thought he was going to die.
Of course, you see, to me, the new constitution was greater than my life. So I was willing, not my life alone, 21 people are killed, whose life was even much, much more precious than mine, because I was a rebate order. They had more life ahead of them. But they gave their life for that, for patriotic reasons.
But he wasn't the only one who suffered. Outspoken lawyer James Orengo was in the back of that pickup on that day that changed the course of Kenya's history.
Actually, all across Africa, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and in the third world generally, the movement for pluralism, political pluralism, was now a worldwide phenomenon. And we just knew the Kenyan's time was just around the corner, although it took a little while.
Yes. And so was the man known affectionately as the People's Watchman, Martin Shikuku. We caught up with him at Kenyatta National Hospital, where he's been lying for the last 1 month. But despite his failing health, he remembers that first Saba Saba like it was yesterday.
We were there at 10. Shots were fired. We lost one soul. We missed those bullets. One ended up in a fuel tank of that pickup. One went stray, the other one killed that young man who was standing near the Nairobi City Stadium near that toilet.
Shikuku believes that the fight for multi-party democracy was a fight well worth fighting.
We had reached a dead end. We had suffered from the powers. We had suffered from Moi's dictatorship. And we said, that is the end. We had got to do something.
And the list goes on and on, one Kenyan after another, with stories of suffering that would make the hair on the back of anyone's neck stand upright. People like Gitobu Imanyara, arguably the biggest thorn in the side of the Moi government, with his highly explosive Nairobi Law Monthly magazine. He's even lost sight of the number of times he's been arrested, tortured, and detained.
I think they must, looking back, they must have even thought of eliminating us. Those days, and and the big difference between the Kibaki and Moi eras is at least Moi, they tortured, they locked us up, they detained us, they didn't kill.
But perhaps the one man who symbolizes Saba Saba and everything it stands for is this man, Kenneth Stanley Jindo Matiba, the man Moi loved to hate, and the man who many feel would have, could have, and maybe even should have been the next president of Kenya.
I was very, very lucky, very, very happy. That happened. And, it turned out, it turned out, I had a heart of doing things like that, For Kenyans, not so much myself, for myself, but for the people of Kenya.
And despite the pain and suffering, Matiba suffered several strokes following several stints in detention and has never fully recovered to this day. But he'll be the first to tell you he's forgiven the man who made him suffer.
I had a stroke nearly 20 years ago now. And it was like that. This side went. And I had now, this side. And it is when I had this, I started now doing things, writing things. I think about, well, why not?
So too has Gitobu Imanyara, who was beaten and tortured so intensely, he still has a tumor stuck in his brain.
Moi?
Yes.
Yes, I forgave him a long time ago. Don't forget, I became MP, and he was the president of Kenya. And I was the fourth Kenya Secretary General and MP. So, as a president, I had to recognize, the president of the republic, and I met him severally.
But others, like the Reverend Dr. Timothy Njoya, feel it's not about Moi anymore.
Moi, don't judge Moi personally and his personality. Judge him by history. Judge him by the history, not his, by the history of Kenya.
So you've forgiven him for everything he did to you?
He didn't beat me so that I may forgive him. He was trying to maintain a certain order, and I wanted to bring a new order. Once the new order comes and he enjoys it, that is like forgiveness.
And others still, like James Orengo, who went from rabble-rouser to lands minister, says it's kind of poetic that Moi has lived to see everything he resisted so stubbornly reversed in less than a decade.
But I'm sure when it is going around, I think it sinks to him that a lot of potential was smothered by having an oppressive system.
For the families of the victims of Saba Saba, 20 years seems like a lifetime. For the rest of us who are enjoying the fruits of their sacrifices, this is a time to reflect and to celebrate and to honor, knowing full well that it's because of them that we are where we are as a nation, and that the future can only get better. Jeff Koinange, K24 News, Nairobi.